Hello, friends. Welcome once again to Andy Tech Cyber Channel. So, I want to say a big thank you to the Most High God for a beautiful year last year, and I also want to thank Him for counting me as part of the living for 2025. So, I want to wish all my viewers and my loved ones a happy new year. I pray that the Lord makes this year a year full of fulfillment of dreams, aspirations. Amen. So for Anti-Tech Cyber, yeah, this year we're gonna intensify the awareness videos, so that together we can be safe while browsing the internet, right? So if you're new to the channel, kindly hit the subscribe button for me, like, and then share this video. So for today, I come your way again with the little experience I've had in the financial industry. I deem it prudent to talk about this matter because day in, day out, people fall prey, right? They become victims to what I'm going to talk about right now due to ignorance. And so, please, once you receive this notification for this video, please do not be selfish. Share, right? Now, so today I'm going to talk about the dangers of public Wi Fi. Now, so I'm gonna direct this video towards the finance aspect, right? So when, let's say, somebody tries to connect to the internet and then the person wanna try to like assess the account balance or the website, for his or her bank. So what are the dangers involved in connecting a public Wi-Fi? Right. Now, what is Wi-Fi? So Wi-Fi is termed as wireless fidelity, right? And pretty much it's a tool that enables electronic devices like computers, like laptops, uh, phones, cards, etc., to be able to connect to the internet wirelessly. So that is what Wi-Fi is. Now, uh, wherever you go, especially here in the United States, Wi-Fi. Almost every shop has a Wi-Fi now, and even with the public places, there are Wi-Fi all over. Right now, I want to talk about why it is dangerous for you and I to connect to a public Wi-Fi, and then while connected, you try to access important, sites like a banking website, or etc. Now, what are some of the places we can find public Wi-Fi? Let's say when you go to the coffee shop, sometimes some restaurants, airports, some hotels, libraries. These are common places you can find free public Wi-Fi. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying public Wi-Fi isn't good, right? But I'm saying there are dangers, right? There are certain risks involved in connecting to a public Wi-Fi. So you would have to weigh the risk, and if you think the risk appetite is something you can condone, then sure, you can go ahead with that. So why is it risky to connect to a public Wi-Fi and then try to access your bank account? Now, majority of the public Wi-Fi, they are not encrypted. Now, what does it mean by they are not encrypted? Now, encryption pretty much refers to the process whereby plain text, is being converted to an unreadable form or a ciphertext. So, a secure Wi-Fi would have that feature. Now, when you connect to a network, right? When you connect to the internet through a Wi-Fi, and you try to access your website. Now, there's gonna be a communication between you, the user, browsing on the browser, right, and then your bank's server. So when let's say I open Google and then I try to access my bank account. Now, I'll establish a communication between the browser, which is Google Chrome, and then the web server for my bank. So that's what's gonna enable me to be able to connect to and also open my bank account. Now, when when a Wi-Fi has that encryption feature, this was gonna happen. Any communication that occurs between the browser and then the web server will be converted into an unreadable form. So whenever even a bad actor, right, or a cyber criminal tries to intercept, the person would find only gibberish. The person would not be able to understand whatever communication is going on between the browser and then the web server. So in the case when, let's say, you open the website and then you put in your username and then the password, now the browser will send that details to the server. And when the server receives the username and then the password, the server is going to check its database and verify whether that combination, that's the username and then the password, is in its database. If it is, then it's gonna enable send a response to the browser, and the response will come by way of your account being opened, right? So you can see it online. Now, when you connect your public Wi-Fi and it does not have that encryption feature, this was gonna happen. Whenever you access the browser, you enter your bank account, website, you put in your username and then the password. Now, this was going to happen. If a hacker or a cyber criminal intercepts that particular communication, then that means that the username and then the password of your bank account, when it's traveling from the browser to the web server, is going in the form of plain text. So just as you typed in the browser, that's the same way is being communicated to the web server. So if a bad person intercepts this communication, then that means the person will get access to your username and then password, and you know what's gonna happen, right? So that is why it is really, really, really bad to connect to a public Wi-Fi and then try to access your bank account, right? It's really dangerous. Now, what are some of the common attacks on public Wi-Fi? One is man in the middle attack. So when we say man in the middle attack, pretty much just as I explained earlier, when a browser, right, and then the web server is communicating, right, somebody can intercept that communication or sit in between the browser and then the web server. So whatever communication is going on between the browser and then the web server, that person will be there, and he or she will be able to collect all the information or the data that's being exchanged. So that's man in the middle attack. So you, like I explained earlier, if it happens that way, then you lose all your information to the bad person and they can access your bank account details. Now, there is another attack called packet sniffing. Now, cyber criminals have tools they are able to use in, when we say sniff, like you're trying to look for or fish out some information, right? So there are a lot of tools cyber criminals can use to try to gather information or communication between two browsers, or I mean, a browser and a web server, right? So if there is the public Wi-Fi is not encrypted, right, then it means that whatever information they will derive, they'll have the information in its plain text. So if imagine you've shared some sensitive information, then what's gonna happen? The bad actor is gonna have access to your account, and you know what's gonna happen, right? Now the last thing is rogue hotspot. Now this is really tricky, and unfortunately, this attack is what many people end up becoming victims, or they end up being victims. Now, when we say rogue hotspots, this was gonna happen. Let's say you visit coffee shop A, right? Now, coffee shop A has a Wi-Fi. So mostly when you go to these public places, they have a board that shows this is our Wi-Fi, right? And it mostly does not have password, so it's not authenticated. Now, you go to coffee shop A and then you see coffee shop A's Wi-Fi, right? That's the name. Let's say coffee shop A. And then there'll be another Wi-Fi spelled just like coffee shop A has been spelled. But sometimes they'll just change one or two letters, right? Now, this is what happens. Some bad actors, when they know or they identify places that are always overcrowded by people, they create fake Wi-Fi. What do I mean by fake Wi-Fi? So they create their own Wi-Fi and then they make it available to everybody. Of course, we all want cheap stuff, right? So imagine I go to this place and then I don't want to use my own data and I get a free Wi-Fi. I would, be tempted to connect with. So because they know this, they They leave their Wi-Fi open. Now they are the creators of those Wi-Fi. So anybody that connects to that particular Wi-Fi, any kind of information you share, being it on WhatsApp, any kind of activity you engage in on the internet by connected to their Wi-Fi, they will have all the information in their hands, right? So it is dangerous to connect to public Wi-Fi. If possible, stay away from that. Only connect to Wi-Fi you know, no, it's a legitimate Wi-Fi and they're being what authenticated. Now, what are some of the risks in case you fall victim to or you fall prey to one of these attacks? Then, of course, your banking information or details is gonna be delivered to the wrong people, right? The wrong hands. And you know what's gonna happen? We always hear of thefts here and there, identity theft. All these are majority of them are because people connect to public Wi-Fi. So I want to advise you today to stay away from public Wi-Fi, unless you want to use it for something that's not really important. But even with that, if you think it's possible to use your own personal data, do that. And also, sometimes when you fall prey to like any of these attacks, then your credit or debit card details. Let's say you try to purchase something online, trying to order something on Amazon. When you connect to the public Wi-Fi, the moment you put in your card details, they get all the information, right? So they're gonna use it. So these are the risks involved in connecting to a public Wi-Fi and then trying to access your banking account. So it's really, really important. Now, what are some of the best practices? The first thing, avoid using public Wi-Fi. Yeah, don't you see the cost involved in using and then being hacked as compared to you using your own data. So you can check it out, right? So avoid using public Wi-Fi. Then also two-factor authentication. That is really important. If you have an online banking, make sure you've set up the two-step verification or two-factor authentication. By so doing, even when the bad actors are able to get your card or your bank details, when you try to connect or try to log in, if you have the two-step verification set up, then it's gonna send you a code, right? Then you would know somebody is trying to get access to your account. And the bad person cannot enter directly because they would need that code before. So always make sure you enable two-step verification. And lastly, only use trusted and secure Wi-Fi. Wherever you go, make sure the Wi-Fi you're connecting to, one is it has that encryption feature, right? It has that encryption feature, and mostly it's authenticated, right? So this another video. Please, like I said, share the video, and together, we can stay safe on the internet. Avoid public Wi-Fi. Be intentional whenever you visit the internet. Okay, share the video and also subscribe. Thank you. God bless you.